If you are a counseling center director evaluating AI documentation tools, at some point someone is going to ask you to justify the investment. And the honest answer is, the benefits of AI are real, but it is not always calculated the way it should be. Most conversations about AI in counseling start and end with one number. How much time does it save per note? That is a meaningful number, but it is not the whole picture. The real cost of documentation at a counseling center is spread across the entire operation, not just note writing time. It shows up in after-hours work, in supervision load, in clinician fatigue, in documentation quality and compliance, and in staff retention. When you look at the full picture, the case for AI documentation is much stronger than the per-note time savings suggests. In this episode, we're going to walk through how to build that full picture and what metrics actually matter when you are evaluating an AI documentation investment. Let's break down where documentation cost actually lives in a counseling center. Most return on investment calculations only capture the first of 5 categories. The first is direct time cost. This is the most visible number. A clinician providing 24 hours of direct service per week, spending 4 to 5 hours on documentation, is allocating roughly 15 to 20% of their working week to writing notes. That is a significant and quantifiable expense at any clinician hourly rate. But direct time cost is only the beginning. Second is after-hours charting. In most counseling centers, documentation does not get completed during the workday. Sessions run back-to-back. Protected time for notes is limited, so the work moves to evenings and weekends. This is not just an efficiency problem, it is a sustainability problem. After-hours charting is one of the more consistent early indicators of clinician burnout, and burnout has its own cost, which we will come back to. Third is supervision overhead. In training environments, every trainee note requires review and co-signature. When trainee documentation arrives inconsistent or poorly structured, supervisors spend more time editing and providing feedback than they would otherwise. AI documentation does not eliminate supervision, but it does reduce friction inside it. When notes arrive in a consistent, well-organized format, supervisors can move faster and focus on clinical content rather than formatting. There is also a secondary benefit. Supervisors can use AI-generated structure as a teaching tool for documentation skill development. Fourth is quality and compliance risk. Incomplete documentation, late notes, and inconsistent formatting are not just administrative inconveniences. They create liability exposure. They complicate audits. They create problems when student records need to be transferred or reviewed. Documentation quality has a risk value attached to it, and that risk decreases meaningfully when AI supports consistent, structured note completion. And fifth, perhaps the most underestimated, retention impact. Clinician turnover is expensive. Recruiting, onboarding, and training a new staff clinician is often estimated at 50 to 200% of annual salary when you account for lost productivity, recruitment costs, and the disruption to students in care. Documentation burden is not the only driver of burnout, but it is a consistent one. Centers that meaningfully reduce after-hours charting tend to see improvements in staff satisfaction, and that translates to lower turnover over time. When you add these 5 categories together, the operational cost of documentation in a typical counseling center is substantially higher than per-note time savings alone would suggest. That is not an argument for overstating the benefits of AI, it is an argument for calculating them accurately. The first metric worth tracking is documentation timeliness. What you want to see is note completion rates broken down by when they were finished relative to the session date. Same day, within 24 to 48 hours, 48 to 72 hours, and which are outstanding beyond your center's policy window. That distribution tells you a lot. A center with most notes completing same day has a fundamentally different documentation culture than one where the majority are finishing 2 or 3 days later. Before AI documentation, pull that baseline. After implementation, run the same report. The shift in that distribution is a direct, measurable proxy for reduction in after-hours work. For training sites, supervision efficiency is one of the highest leverage areas for AI documentation. What supervisors are managing day-to-day is a queue, notes waiting for review and co-signature, sitting in a task list alongside everything else on their plate. The older items in that queue represent documentation that has drifted, and drift has a cost to compliance, to the trainee's development, and to the supervisor's time. When AI documentation produces more consistent first drafts, that queue moves faster. Notes that arrive well-structured get reviewed and signed the same day. The backlog shrinks not because supervisors work harder, but because the work arriving in the queue requires less intervention. None of this requires a complicated financial model to make the case. The metrics are already in your EHR, or they should be. The centers that build the strongest case for AI documentation are the ones that establish a clear before and after comparison using data they were already tracking. Note timeliness, completion rates, after-hours access patterns, and supervisor time spent on documentation review. If you do not have the baseline data today, now is a good time to start collecting it. Those numbers will tell the return on investment story for you. Establish baseline metrics. Implement AI documentation. Measure the same metrics again. The difference is your return on investment. And one more thing we're saying directly, the value is not evenly distributed. Centers with high documentation burden, high supervision to trainee ratios, or elevated burnout risk have more to gain than centers that already have efficient workflows. An honest AI benefit assessment starts with an honest assessment of where your center actually is. So here are 4 takeaways worth keeping. First, per note time savings is a starting point, not the full story. The real operational cost of documentation includes after-hours work, supervision load, compliance exposure, and retention risk. Calculate all of it. Second, your baseline data matters. Before you can make a credible return on investment case, you need to know where you are starting from. Note timeliness, completion rates, and supervision cycle time are the right metrics to track. Third, training sites have compounding returns. AI documentation benefits supervisors and trainees simultaneously. More consistent first drafts mean more efficient supervision, which is a real multiplier in high trainee volume clinics. And fourth, the goal is not just to reduce time. It is to shift when and how clinical energy is spent. Documentation that happens during the workday in a review and refine model is fundamentally different from documentation that happens after hours as a reconstruction exercise. That difference has value beyond what any spreadsheet can measure.